The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to the 10th podcast in a series of 12, Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And, of course, Karl Pilkington.
All right.
Now, thanks for all your emails. We've really started a community here, I think.
Yes.
We're all brought together by one aim. The fascination of the brain of Karl Pilkington, basically.
Yes, absolutely. There's thousands of people who are equally as obsessed as we are with it.
I really don't know why it's called the Ricky Gervais Show anymore. I mean, I was cynical at the beginning, but it's farcical. Welcome to the Karl Pilkington Show.
Well, people say they'd like to hear more from you and I, but I don't see why when you've got this specimen in the room.
I feel like the ringmaster. But the real star is the shaved monkey in a jar that we bring out. Do you know what I mean? That's it. That's the star of the show, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we've had loads of emails, actually, and we've had one from Nige, who's done this brilliant cartoon of Karl on the beach. I think we should sell those as postcards. But someone's beaten us to selling merchandise. If you go to www.cafepress.com/Mr. Pilkington, someone is selling everything with Karl Pilkington's head on it. Now, these are bootleg goods. We're not making any money from it, but I'm strangely proud. I just love to see millions of people wearing a little t-shirt or a baseball cap or drinking out of a mug with his little round head on it. He's made a clock, which is perfect because it fits absolutely, you know what I mean? The sides of the head go right to the edge of the clock because it's perfectly round.
I'd like to see maybe as well those sort of rubber or plastic face masks that you can buy for Halloween with just Karl's face.
Oh, just millions of people all look like Karl. Oh, that would be amazing. What a world that would be.
Cheers for that, love. Yeah, it's Karl Pilkington here, just telling you about Channel 4 on a Friday. You've got new Green Wing, right, that's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and the It Crowd. I mean, sort of being in the comedy business and that, I think it's fair to say I'm qualified to give my opinion, and these three things are funny, so yeah, stay in, watch it, have a good night, have a nice little brew with it, do what you want. At the end of the day, it's your life, innit? So, see it.
Karl Pilkington! The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Still to come, of course, Monkey News and Karl's diary, excerpts thereof. I wonder if we should have a jingle for questions for Karl, because there's a lot of questions coming in for Karl.
Okay. Oh, chimpanzee, that question's for Karl.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough, that works. Okay. This is from Jim and Bob in Manchester. Karl, if you could talk to any animal, which one would it be and what would you say to it?
Insect, animal, anything, fish, anything.
Well, they said animal, but let's broaden it to anything.
Animal,
any creature.
Insect is an animal.
Yeah, no, but I'm just, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm just thinking about,
there's
a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? I'd probably go for the tortoise.
Okay.
Because it would take a long time to walk away from you while you were talking.
No, just because...
Most animals would be off straight away.
Yeah.
Just because they live for ages, so they'll have loads of stories. They've lived through a lot, you know what I mean, through wars and stuff. Well, if you get an old one, an old one, that's about...
Yeah. Most of them have lived in a box, in a garden, for 52 years.
No, but you get some that have been about... And even if it's in a box, you can overhear.
They've really travelled, have they?
Yeah.
I mean,
some of them have experienced more than you.
Yeah.
But they've broadened their horizons a bit more than you. They could probably teach you a thing or two, yeah.
And what would you hope to learn from them?
Just history.
Right. From their very specific tortoise perspective. Other emails. We've had a lot of questions about time travel. People are fascinated about your approach to time travel, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but this is a very specific time travel question. If you had a time machine, Karl, to what event in your childhood would you travel back to, and why?
What's the point in going back to things that you thought... No, it's just that it's never as good, is it? It's like a place you go on holiday, and you go back thinking it'll be as good as the first time. It never is. So I don't believe in going back to places.
What do you understand the question as? Do you think they're asking, would you go back like a ghost and spy? Would you go back and you've got your childhood back? You are that child again. You're in the body. You are the child, or you've got your adult head and experiences. On,
Rick, I really don't think Karl was thinking there was any of those variations. Let's be honest. But now that you've flagged them up,
I think he was thinking of him as he is now in school with a cap on.
yeah. Too big for the chairs.
yeah. Come on.
No, I don't think I would go back. It's all happened now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's an email to a podcast for our own amusement.
Well, okay,
choose an event. Okay, forget the time travel thing. Well,
no, hang on. I think let's clarify one of Ricky's points. What if you could go back and you could live that moment again? How would you do it differently?
There's been times where I've gone, oh, that was a bit out of order or whatever, but then you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I don't want to go back and change stuff, because it's like that thing that they go on about, innit, where they blame the butterfly on an earthquake. You know, it's going to happen. If it wasn't that butterfly, it's another one. So why pass the buck, is what I'm saying.
So you've got no regrets. There's nothing in your past you'd want to change or do differently?
What about if you went back and you spied like a ghost on something? You couldn't change anything, but you could have a look at someone and just sort of look, like
what?
like Ebenezer Scrooge does with the Ghost of Christmas Past. He goes back and he's sort of like looking at himself dancing and stuff, or... What would you do? What would you go back and have a look at?
Yeah, but you're asking me to change. I don't want to change.
You're not changing, you're just observing.
It's impossible.
All right, I tell
this
you
question, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have to do this. It's impossible.
Right, yeah, I nearly died once, didn't I? On an ice pop.
Right.
Right. Now, maybe if I would have died, I'd say, well, let's go back to that, and I won't have an ice pop.
You wouldn't be doing the podcast if you'd have died. You wouldn't be having this email put to you. What are you
That's
talking
absurd.
about?
You're now saying... You're rewriting history and then going back to change it.
Yeah.
There's no need. You didn't
die.
Well,
and we've changed it. You can't change anything. You're just going to go back and watch something. Would you like to go back and watch yourself choking on a Mr. Freeze?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't go back now, because I'm all right. I haven't had one since. I've learnt a lesson. I'm not missing them ice pops. So...
I don't think you're making the most of this opportunity to fantasise.
I don't see the point in going back in anything. I mean, do you mean go back in time to the point of you can see, like, Rome in its working day?
What, in your childhood? Was Rome about when in your childhood? Were there gladiators in your childhood?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everything I've been through, so why see it again?
Forget it. It was just a nice little question.
I mean, that shows the lack of imagination in Karl Pilkington. Your mind can't fathom something unless it's, like, you know, got two heads.
But I don't see the point in doing something twice. Because the thing is, say if there's one good moment when I was about 6 that I loved, I'd then have to go through all the other 20 years. Again.
Well, why? Why have you imposed that? It's a fantasy. Make it up.
You could go back and come back again.
Yeah, whiz back and fast forward 35 years.
Nah.
Brilliant. No. Like it was on offer. Like this was really on offer. Move on.
Migrant workers in South China are wearing adult diapers on packed trains heading home for the New Year holiday because they've got no access to the toilet. Many supermarkets in this particular part of China have reported a 50% increase in sales of adult nappies for the train trips. Now, what do you make of that, Karl? You're on a long, long train journey, 3 hours, 4 hours.
You know there's no toilet. You know you're going to need to go. Pop on a...
Why isn't there any toilets?
They just aren't on the trains.
And they're a really long journey.
Yeah.
How long?
Hours.
Well, very long in China. It's a big country.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I'd have to hold it in or something. Just like, I mean, when I was a young kid, I don't know how young you are when you wear a nappy and that, but I remember that I didn't like it, doing it in a pair of pants, like that, a pair of nappies and that. And I used to have to, even when I was too small to sort of get up on the toilet and that, because you'd fall in, my mum knew that I didn't like nappies and that. I used to just go in the corner, just near the kitchen, in this thing that... Like a litter tray. That cat's having that. I mean, it wasn't like that, but that's you know, that's the same sort of idea. And I'd go there, and I'd do my thing, and you know, my mum used to say, "Oh, he's going there. Don't look at him," and that, because it put me off. You know, like cats don't like being watched when they do it.
When they go in their litter tray in the kitchen.
No, they don't. They don't like it. I tested it again.
What are you, just like a little feral kid, just running around and going to the litter tray, covering it up, and then running up the curtain and eating a sweet at the top of the pelmet?
No, but nobody likes being watched, and that's what I'm saying. If you're sat on a train and you're knocking one out and that, and everyone's looking at you, I don't think it'll catch on.
Well, it has caught on.
They're
all doing it. They're just sitting there. They're doing, you know, they're reading the paper, doing Sudoku, and they're looking round when they're going. They're thinking, oh, no one knows I'm going. And everyone's thinking that, and everyone's going.
I mean, it's partly because there are 120 million peasants from China's vast rural areas who swarm into the cities for work. And so, you know, that sheer number of people means that the trains are so overcrowded.
I just don't... I mean, what are we getting to? You know what I mean? What's going on in the world that this is happening?
I know.
I mean, people have always had to travel for ages. I just don't understand why there isn't a toilet on it. We're going backwards. We're going backwards. Aren't we? Why isn't there a toilet on it?
Well, maybe there is, but maybe people are thinking the queue is going to take forever. If you've got 125 million people
Yeah,
going
but not
back.
everybody wants to go at once. I mean, I know Chinese and all that are like at the forefront of everything that goes on in the world, inventing stuff first, but this isn't one of the best that they've come up with.
What have they invented then, the Chinese? Just
Loads of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah,
They've
well,
done
no,
loads of
I
stuff.
was going to ask you. You seem quite educated on the subject. What?
They did them cat mop things that I told you about.
Brilliant.
I
This was where you put mops on the feet of cats, was that right?
Yeah. And they
Brilliant.
wander about the house, clean up and that, wash the floor for you whilst they're pottering about. They've done like hats with umbrellas on them. They've done. I mean, they're known for like coming up with stuff first.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was gunpowder, but yeah, cats with mops is good as well.
Just a final mention of one of the emails that came through from Phil Hobby in Falmouth in USA. He says, "Hello chaps, just wanted to let you know that I was at a party on Friday and I bought 2 remixes of I Could Eat a Knob at Night on a CD. Let me tell you, I played them at the party. They were a huge success. They were a smash. By the end of the night, the party was hip to the words I Could Eat a Knob at Night. Half of them were even singing along. So big thanks to you, Ricky, Stephen, Karl. Now, what would be ideal, of course, I suppose, is one of the big superstar DJs, if they could drop that into their set. You know, a Carl Cox, a Fatboy Slim.
Tong.
Pete Tong, yeah.
Boy Tong.
He got power, and I'd love to hear him drop it. Maybe
Yeah.
even, and I suppose Westwood wouldn't be able to put that in. I know he's more of a hip hop guy, but yeah. So I mean, if you at any point ever hear I Could Eat a Knob at Night, the remix at any kind of club event, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Well, now to one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival Monkey News one day. It is Monkey News. It's you know, it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Karl Pilkington's diary. Oh, he's written it down, yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just just
sort
annoyed
of,
about
sort
something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh, God.
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And that if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that
Well, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket. I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head and a close-cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
For about 45 minutes.
And yeah, a mate sort of said, "Oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that." He said, "You ought to come to Twiggy's," and I went there, but I didn't go in. It was shut. It was they were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, "Oh, I've come to have a dance," and like, "Oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow." I never went back.
Brilliant. Next. What a waste of an anecdote. Right. Brilliant.
Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday, as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they're running out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry. People with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
All right, then. Some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is... the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It ends the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out
Look
of it.
what we can do with science.
And he's going,
goodbye.
I feel ill.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh, God.
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it, and the first sentence read, "Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you're one of our most valuable customers." I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word "wew" means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing
Who's
that right?
using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way, I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know.
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't going to solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, though, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, "I know I'm about 'cause I dream." Doesn't work for everything, 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
I'm not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know. Don't know how you put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, you'd sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level.
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep, when you're tired.
No, but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise and going to the toffee shop.
Karl Pilkington!
Alright, just doing a little advert for Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. You might be going out and that, doing something nice, which, you know, if you are, then fair enough, go out. But I'm just saying, if you're staying in, you've got new green wing, right, that's nearly ready. Got My Name Is Earl, The It Crowd, all funny stuff and that. Don't know about you, but, you know, I'll be staying in watching it, just having a bag of crisps and stuff, so... If you're staying in, put the telly on, do that. If you're going out, go out, have a nice night. See you later.
Karl Pilkington!
Well, it's that time again. If you'd give us the jingle, please.
Oh, chimpanzee Dave.
Okay, now that surely cannot be fair on anyone's ears listening.
Right, ages ago, right, about the 1950s,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
there was this gangster knocking about. And do you know how, like...
Was he called Hairy Fingers?
Do you know how, like, a lot of gangsters like to get into gambling and that?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, like, all his peers and that, all these mates who are, like, gangsters and stuff, they've all bought horses, right, like they take racing and they make money from them and that, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, he was
Chuckles Seagull was no different.
And he was like, yeah, that's a good thing to get into. I might get into a bit of that, right? So he gets himself this horse, right? And there's a big race coming up. That's why he's a bit of a last minute.
And the jockey turns up and it's fine. He's a human jockey and it's fine. Excellent. Okay, well that was another podcast.
So anyway,
please listen.
Oh, hang on,
next.
there's more.
Oh,
hang
go
on. So anyway, this big race is coming up. He's like, I've got to be involved in this because I can make a lot of money out of my horse here.
Choose the jockey wisely, then.
So he says to his mate, he said, "Look, I've got myself a horse and that." He said, "We just need a jockey, get someone to sort it out and what have you, so I can get in this race."
Go to the jockey club.
His mate's like, "Yeah, all right, I'll have a word and that, have a look round and that, see if there's anyone decent."
And the good thing about jockeys is there's never been a shortage of jockeys because a lot of them don't make the grade. So there's always too many jockeys to go round.
Always too many human jockeys.
Yeah, there's never a problem getting jockeys.
Fine.
Go on.
So anyway, he comes
Was that
back.
true in the 50s as well?
It's always been true.
Always been true. It's always just wanted to clarify that.
There's no lack of jockeys.
So
it's sort of close shot. People are trying to do it and they don't make the grade. So,
but in the 50s, from your knowledge, there was not like in 1951 a shortage of jockeys for just 1 year.
Absolutely never. I've known about
Okay,
that.
fine,
I'm quite keen.
Right.
Go on.
So anyway, right. So his mate says, "Look, I'm having a problem getting a jockey."
Seems odd because Ricky's just been saying he's just been saying there's not a problem.
What do you mean? So
Just because the main problem was,
Go on.
a lot of jockeys were aware of this gangster and were saying, "I'm not getting involved with this guy. The chances are I won't get paid. You know, he's a gangster. It's not worth it."
you would do it if it was a gangster asking you. You'd be scared of the consequences.
So anyway, he's saying, "Look, don't be coming to me with problems and that, right? I've got the horse. I want it in the race. Sort it out." So they're like, "Oh, but boss," and he's like, "Don't give me any of that." Go and
Exactly.
sort it out."
They do what he says, so any jockey would do it. Go on.
So anyway, so the day before,
The big race, yeah. Left it to the last minute, okay, but
Yeah.
fine.
and he says, have you got a jockey then? They're like, "Yeah, but," and he's going, "Don't worry about it. Have you got a jockey?" "Yeah, but," and he's like, "Well, look."
He wants
what-
to say, sure. Yeah,
So,
they won't let him.
he's saying, has he ridden horses before and that? He said, "Well, yeah, he has, but mainly," and he's like, "Brilliant." And he goes, "Yeah, but mainly in like a circus."
in the jung.
No, like in the circus and that. He'd worked with horses and stuff.
In the
apparently.
circus.
It's fine.
So he's like,
It's fine.
that's enough. That's all I need to know.
Well, they'd be too heavy because circus people
so-
are quite built, aren't they? They're
He said
being a
so-
bit heavier than the jockey because the jockeys are about 8.5 stone.
He said, "Brilliant. Get him down there and that, right?" Anyway, the race happens.
He didn't want to meet him beforehand. He wasn't worried
No
about
point.
it.
Not
No,
bothered.
no.
As far as he's concerned,
It's all
he's
sorted.
putting his money on it and what have you.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
What happened is they were trying to make him put on the jockey outfit,
Yeah.
but for some reason it didn't fit that well.
Sleeves
And that-
too
it was-
short,
it was
legs too long.
It's that sort of problem.
Okay.
So they let him, wear his stuff that he wore in the circus and that, because it's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's happy with. Anyway, race starts and what have you. This horse straight out of the trap and that, high speed, right? This jockey's got a really big grin on his face. He's loving it, right? Everyone's cheering, going, "Who is this? Who's this jockey here?"
Yeah.
It's amazing. Never seen him before, and yet look at him.
But they can see his face clearly.
Anyway, Gangster's happy in that because he's won.
But I just want to say the crowd can see the jockey, can they?
What?
The crowd can. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
face
he's
not-
so fast and what have
The
you.
blur, it's a blur, it's all a blur.
He's good at it. I mean, apparently he was
Right.
close to falling off, and people were like, he's gone, he's a goner. But
Right.
he's got such a good reach that he managed to grab hold of
Oh,
the...
Sure.
good reach. Oh.
And
Right,
well, they
so-
could tell he was smiling. They could tell he was smiling, but they couldn't see the detail of his face. Is that right? Just
well,
to clarify
it's
that.
just, it's just blur and that. and
Sure,
just
but
saw
they
a
could
big
tell he was
tooth.
smiling. Yeah,
yeah.
They knew he was happy.
At the end of it, do you know, like, the winner sort of rides around the crowd bit,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Sort of, show off and what have you.
Yeah,
And all the women are there, and do you know, like, women are all dolled up at these events.
sure.
They've all got big hats on.
Sometimes they got fruit on those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right.
And one of the women,
In
one
the
of the
50s,
women,
particularly, Carmen Miranda was very popular. Yeah.
one of the women had like you say, fruit and what have you on it,
Yeah.
a little banana.
Right. Some kind of
They're
Cuban
not real.
woman.
They're not real though. The hats. They're
It's not real fruit, is it?
No,
Yeah.
of course not. Never.
So
But I don't know
really-
who. I thought they wore those sort of kind of Cuban
Yeah, but
entertainment shows. I didn't realise they wore them at
but
events.
even if it's like a big event, you might have a hat with fruit, and it's sort of joke, but it's fake fruit because it would
Yeah.
perish.
Well,
but
this jockey didn't understand that. He'd never seen false fruit.
I don't understand.
But why did the jockey suddenly? Why was he so desperate for fruit? I don't understand.
So anyway, meanwhile, the gangster's collecting his 500 quid winnings.
Yeah.
Right, he's over the moon.
Yeah,
He kicks off because of this woman with the fruit.
yeah. I don't understand. I still don't understand
don't
why the
understand.
jockey would go.
Everyone noticed. Jockey, little monkey fella.
Oh, that makes sense. If he was a monkey, that would make sense.
Yeah.
What year was this? Because I want to.
It was 1950s, and that's where the saying comes from about, like in Cockney slang, 500 quid is a monkey. He sort of put, he put a monkey on it, and it all goes back to the time when.
So this happened in England.
in this country,
It
yeah,
happened in
the
England. So
1950s.
someone could well still be alive that
So,
we could easily
yeah.
contact. That
Well,
would
that's it.
confirm
We
that,
always,
'cause they were at the
there's no
event.
time length on this monkey news. If you've got any, if it's history, if it goes back,
Or if it's
years
made
ago,
up, bullshit.
just send it in.
If it's
to,
bollocks,
If you've got
send
any
it in.
bollocks
If it's
that
absolute
you wanna
bollocks,
send in.
please send it in.
That's this week's monkey news.
RickyGervais.com. Well, that's the end of the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Only 2 more to go. 1 more hour of the drivel that is the thoughts of Chairman Pilkington, or Dilkington, as he should now be known. This podcast was brought to you by Positive Internet. Those great guys at Positive Internet host the world's #1 podcast. It's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
If you want to get in touch, remember it's podcast@rickygervais.com.
and Karl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.